Selfie versus the Fly is certainly more entertaining than Bradshaw getting knocked out, boom, and he's sleeping. What's going on, everybody? King of Chaos, Logan Black here, and you're watching Pro Wrestling Explained. To my wife. Hi, wife.
Hello, husband.
Today, we're going back to the Attitude Era yet again. It was such a memorable time for wrestling, but this, I don't know how memorable this is. More, I think, instead of being famous, it's more infamous. This is the Brawl for All. This was the brainchild of one Vince Russo, the favorite writer of my buddy Nick Stapp, for all the wrong reasons. Yeah. Do you know anything about Vince Russo, or do you know anything about the Brawl for All?
No, nothing about Brawl for All, but I believe Vince Russo owned WCW?
He didn't own, but he bought. Oh. So let's get into it here real quick. History lesson, dear. Vince Russo was writing for WWF. He was the head writer over there for quite some time. Left them kind of out of nowhere to join and write for WCW. Okay. And during his tenure there, they lost a shitload of money.
That part I knew. Yeah.
We're definitely going to be getting to some of Vince Russo's greatest hits on here, but for now, let's hop into the Brawl for All. So what we've got going on here, as you see the nice, pretty display, is the Brawl for All. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as you see, this is Bradshaw's coming out with boxing gloves. Why are we coming out with boxing gloves to a wrestling match? So this was an idea that was actually made for this guy, Bradshaw. Vince Russo, who was one of the head writers at the time, was tired of him running his mouth about being like the toughest guy in the locker room, so he created this tournament for all the wrestlers. Not for Stridex, though. But this certainly shows what their audience was at the time.
A 90s teenager classic, yes.
Certainly. But yeah, you're going to see, it's pretty much, it was a tournament, an 8-person tournament, where they would just, like, beat the piss out of each other in, like, modified boxing rules. Mm-hmm. And, Selfie wants to be part of things. Opinions. So, yeah, and this dude, Bart Gunn here, like, completely out of left field, ended up just knocking people out. But everybody thought Bradshaw was going to win, because all he ever did was talk about how tough he was. So this was the finals of it. Bart Gunn versus Bradshaw.
Okay. So it was just a boxing tournament.
So it was boxing, but there was also rules where, like, oh, you can take somebody down, but there was no, like, it wasn't like MMA where you could take them down and, like, start throwing bombs at them. If you took them down, you just stood back up and you got points.
Gotcha. There
was, like, a weird point system. I think, like, the judges had no idea what was going on. The guys they knew they just had to kick the crap out of each other. Except there was no kicking.
Oh, okay.
No kicking.
Just only figurative kicks.
I just see two guys very intense, very, very moist.
Indeed. Looks like it's humid in there.
So, I mean, listen, it's a very, very humid arena. These guys are ready to go. I remember watching this, and, like, when they were trying to explain it, I was like, oh, this is really, it's a cool concept. And then, like, as it went through, I'm like, oh, this totally sucks. Because, like, everything else on the show was, like, wrestling. Yeah. And then, like, no, this is real. Well, then what was the rest of the shit I was watching?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of hard to tell a story in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, there is no story here except for you got knocked the F out. That was the story.
Oh. I suppose that's a... Oh. We have company.
Apparently Selfie wants to get that fly.
New matchup.
Yeah. Selfie versus the Fly is certainly more entertaining than Bradshaw getting knocked out, boom, and he's sleeping. Sleeping.
Night-night.
So, check this out. As everyone celebrates Bart Gunn, do you remember that doctor?
Oh, wait.
Hold on, they're going to go back to him.
Okay.
They're going to go back. I was really excited when I rewatched this. And I was like, oh, man. You could totally see it by his hair. So you remember?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, come on, go with it.
Is it Billy Caputo?
No, it's not.
Oh.
No. Billy's not a doctor.
That's why I was confused.
So the doctor right there is a doctor that used to be at all the Sanctuary shows.
Oh.
The big dude with, like, the big old hair.
Yeah, I was too busy freezing to death to notice literally anything else that was
Well, then you should have been in this arena where everybody was really humid
honestly,
sweating.
It would have been a much nicer alternative.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole thing was set up for Bradshaw. Bradshaw ends up losing in the finals, gets knocked way out on his ass, forgets math. Bart Gunn ends up kind of becoming gets like a mini push out of this, so to speak. But what ends up actually happening is they put him in there against Butterbean. Do you remember who Butterbean was? Big fat heavyweight boxer at WrestleMania of that year. Knocked him out in like less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've only heard of dogs named Butterbean before, so it's not ringing a bell.
So you've like watched MMA at some point, at least with me or elsewhere, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I know in 1998, whenever this was or so, I think MMA was still kind of getting its footing, but like it was certainly better than this. What is your take on the Brawl for All?
It was pretty boring.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
The crowd for a bunch of those were, chanting, boring, boring. And, the segments weren't super long, but they totally killed the flow of the show. Like I said, like, everything else is fake. This is real. Just kind of weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you would be interested in revisiting from the Brawl for All or no?
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the entire purpose of it, the rumor beyond the Bradshaw thing, was it was supposed to launch the career, or relaunch rather, of Dr. Death Steve Williams, who's like a legend. He got knocked out in the first round by Bart Gunn, the winner. So it killed his career, it injured a whole bunch of people, and Bart Gunn ended up having his career killed from it.
A+ idea.
Brilliance from
around.
one Vince Russo.
Yeah.
Rap is. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of Pro Wrestling Explained. To my wife, you can catch me on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at King of Chaos NYC, and check out my podcast, the Year One Wrestling Podcast. You're on the YouTube account for it now. Why are you not subscribed? Subscribe to it on whatever your preferred podcasting platform is. And for you, dear?
I'm boring as fuck. So, who you should follow instead is my friend Robin at Geek Girl Strong for all of your nerdy fitness content. It's really awesome. You should check it out.
And for you, Banana Lunch as well.
I'm okay. It's fine.
Well, for the both of us, love each other, love yourselves, love pro wrestling.